Well, with one day to go until Greece goes to the polls in its general election, the country is holding what it calls a day of reflection for voters to consider what's on offer. Joining me is Robert Oulds, director of the Eurosceptic think tank, the Bruges Group. Good to talk to you, Robert. I mean, let's start with the rise of the far-left party, Syriza, and the fact that if they don't become an overall majority in the Greek parliament, they'll certainly be in a very commanding position. They want to U-turn on austerity. I mean, is it possible, for starters?
Well, it is possible, and really they have to follow that policy if they are indeed elected tomorrow, because the current government were elected on a promise of changing the bailout package, reforming austerity. They didn't deliver, so they must. And really this is down to the European Union, the European Central Bank, as well as the IMF to decide, because there's going to be a clear mandate. The Greek people have had enough of austerity. It's caused a lot of damage. The debt to GDP ratio has actually increased in Greece up to 177% despite the austerity. And if there's not a change by the European Union, then there will continue to be economic problems in Greece. So really they must back down and give more leniency to Greece. But that has serious implications for other countries.
I mean, let me read you a quote from the Tory MEP Daniel Hannan, never short of a few words, in fact. Greece has been brought to ruin by excessive government spending. So what do Greek voters plan to do about it? If opinion polls are to be believed, they will opt for a massive further increase in spending. And if that happens, well, not just whether the Greek economy, but whether the entire eurozone, presumably.
Well, the Greek economy actually needs a refinancing. It needs a massive injection of cash. And really, in a sense, it also needs inflation, because at the moment, Greece is trapped in deflation. Prices are falling. You would think that was good, but it means that further economic growth is put off. So they're now stuck in this deflation trap, and there must be a radical change to re-inject economic growth, and part of that would be inflation, and part of that would of course be caused if there was a big injection of cash either through the European Central Bank reforming austerity and allowing more government expenditure, or of course even the radical step of reintroducing the drachma and Greece itself refinancing its own economy, which would actually possibly be a big boost to Greek productivity and really enable a Greek economy to go forward and become far more competitive.
I mean, are we hearing the death knells for the eurozone? I mean, does Greece give us a very apposite example of when things go wrong, it can all go very, very terribly wrong?
I think so, because I was actually on Sky News back in, I believe it's 2002, debating whether Britain should join...
Both of us looking a lot younger at that point, yeah.
Whether Britain should join the euro. And I remember the presenter at the time said, "Oh, come on, Robert, in 10 or 15 years' time, Britain will be in." And I said, "No, actually, I think the euro won't exist as we know it." So, you know, people heard it first on Sky News, and I think really, if Greece can't have an agreement with the EU and the European Central Bank about austerity, then there would have to be a reintroducing the drachma, and then the euro would have changed. Of course, if there is an agreement with the EU about reforming austerity, then other countries, in particular Italy and Spain and Portugal, perhaps even France, will want its debt to be remanaged and will want a different economic approach. So this could be a really significant change. The dam will be breaking over European politics, and it will be changed as a result of what happens in the election tomorrow. And
of course, always the question is, for those countries experiencing problems with employment and problems with, central government spending, is whether or not it is better to be outside of that eurozone and have, a firmer grip of the reins of your own economy.
Absolutely, yes. My organisation, the Bruges Group, recently produced some research which looked at countries that are inside the euro and how they fared with the economic crash which happened first in 2008. And the countries that are part of the euro and have had austerity have done very badly. They've had their GDP shrink massively. In terms of Greece, it's gone by over a quarter. They've had unemployment risen massively. Greece has 62% unemployment. But countries that are outside of the euro have done a lot better. They've allowed their currencies independent of the EU single currency to crash. But that, of course, has enabled competitiveness to become back into their economy. It allowed them to export their way out of their difficulties. Also, of course, is countries such as Iceland, which had its own big problems in 2008. They protected social spending, welfare payments, and that was a big help for their economy. Greece had their pensions cut, had education spending cut, unemployment benefits cut, as well as the minimum wage, and that took money out of the economy. If social spending is protected, then people receiving the least well-off benefits will, of course, spend that money in the economy and support economic growth. But what's happened in Southern Europe is they've had enforced austerity, and that's taken money out of their economy.
Plenty of people looking at those Greek elections with a mixture of interest and trepidation. Robert, thanks very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.